Hello and welcome to ChronoPlatformer project game dev stream. If you're watching this right now, that means you're on YouTube, and I appreciate you watching on YouTube. I'd also appreciate you watching on Twitch stream, so feel free to come and join anytime. With your friends, if one way works better for them versus another. Today, we're going to go take a look at Jira and get started on the next story for our sprint. So I updated the burn down gadget because it was saying that I don't do work on Saturdays and Sundays, but I've been streaming basically every day. So I updated it, and now it has a shallower curve here. That'll be more reflective. So right now we're here, and you can see we're ahead of our burn down, which is good. So if we go take a look at our project and go to active sprints, you can see that the next thing we have to do, I think I have platform here, but actually I think the next thing to work on is movement. And I'm going to start with horizontal movement. I think there's a bit of work that's not reflected super accurately in Jira regarding this. Like that could have a story for getting a placeholder image for the character, like I have a placeholder image for the platforms. Anyways, that bit isn't super important. See if we can get some music playing.
When I first started making music, I just used to send loads of links from SoundCloud to kind of expose it to as many people as possible.
I was listening to one of my videos that was uploaded, and I was realizing that the music was almost inaudible in the recording. So I hope this is a bit of a better balance. It's kind of loud for me, but oh well. It's not like deafeningly loud, but it's still a little bit louder than I would listen to it normally when I'm talking. I don't normally listen to music when I'm talking, so it's kind of weird. But I think the main issue is that my audio is really quiet. Like my really quiet. It's something I'm working on. Right now my microphone's over here, sort of. It's kind of just off screen, but it's about a foot away from my face. And the deal is I've got this boom stand here. It just sits on the desk, and it really gets in my way if I have it directly in front of me. Like I can't have my mouse around it at all. So I have ordered an extending boom arm that I'm going to attach to my desk, and that way I can put it away when I'm not having to talk and have more desk space, because right now it kind of ebbs into my cursor, my mouse space. So anyways, that should be here by the end of the week. Okay. So we have our sandbox here, and I think this will be a good place to start working from. Okay. So I don't know all of the 2D objects super well. Like I don't know what the difference between all these kinds of sprites are. I can kind of assume some of them. So square sprite, circle sprite, capsule sprite, isometric diamond, capsule. These guys I'm not so sure. 9 sliced, I don't know what that is. Hexagon I can kind of imagine. Well, what is a physics static sprite versus dynamic sprite? I know what a tile map is. And sprite shape? That I really don't know. Pixel perfect camera. That's kind of neat. I can imagine what that is. Don't know how it works yet. And then a sprite mask. That one I'm really not sure what that is. I'm guessing it's just something that overlays on top of another sprite. And there's like 2 layers to a sprite, but they're always attached. Not quite sure. I also don't know how to get lighting effects for 2D stuff. I think we're just going to start with a square sprite. Nice hoverboard. So, the Sprite Renderer is has got a sprite, which is just like a picture. It's got a color to like hue that sprite, give it a different tone, color tone. Draw mode, don't know what that is. Allows you to flip it. Mask interaction, not sure. Sprite sort point determines which position of the sprite which is used for sorting. And then material to be used by the sprite renderer. And you've got a sorting layer and then an order in that layer. You can add sorting layers. So my current photo editor of choice is just paint.net. That might change in the course of this project. Oops. Unlock the aspect ratio. And I'm just gonna draw a simple dude here. That's art. So we'll save this in assets, characters, textures, placeholder, character. I feel like I did set a standard for the code style. Unity objects, camel case, scripts. I guess I didn't have anything that was like what, game files and stuff. think having spaces in file names can be kind of dangerous. So I'm just going to call this placeholder character. And there's our guy. Cool. I suppose I could have at least deleted the background. So I can make a new component on here that's character movement so we're going to want to sort that here. Go to characters folder. Man. I've got some grapes. So before I work on the character movement script itself, I want to have in an input mapper. I just want to be able to build an abstraction between the input that Unity has. Well, let's not over design here. Let's go take a look at what Unity input has. Interface into the input system uses class to read the axis set up in the conventional game input and to access multi-touch / accelerometer data on mobile devices. To read an axis, use input.getAxis with one of the following default axes. Horizontal and vertical are mapped to joystick. A, W, S, D, and the arrow keys. Mouse X and mouse Y are mapped to the mouse delta. Fire 1, Fire 2, Fire 3 are mapped to Control, Alt, Command keys, and the 3 mouse or joystick buttons. New input axis can be added. See Input Manager for this. suggest using getAxis instead of getButton for anything, or for movement, except for action-like events. Input flags are not reset until update. You should make all the input calls in the update loop. See also key code, which lists all of the key presses, mouse, and joystick options. Mobile devices. iOS and Android devices are capable of tracking multiple fingers touching the screen simultaneously. You can access the data on the status of each finger touching the screen during the last frame by using the input.touches property array. So I think even using Unity's whole deal here, I still want to have a wrapper on top of it, so that way if I ever want to have control remapping, it'll be a lot easier. And I'm curious what this smoothing filtering is. So it's described in getAxis has the smoothing filter and InputAxisRaw does not. Turns the value of the virtual axis defined by the input. The value will be in the range of -1 to 1 for keyboard and joystick input devices. The meaning of this value depends on the type of input control. For example, with joystick's horizontal axis, a value of 1 means the stick is pushed all the way to the right. If the axis is mapped to the mouse, the value is different and will not be in the range of -1 to 1. Instead, it'll be the current mouse delta multiplied by the axis sensitivity. This says that the horizontal and vertical ranges change from 0 to +1 or -1 with an increase or decrease of 0.05 steps. InputAxisRaw has changes from 0 to 1 or -1 immediately, so with no steps. So I'm curious what the smoothing is for the keyboard. I would think that it would just immediately go on the keyboard. It would go. So there was one of the tutorials I was reading that was like Unity scene hierarchy. GameDeveloper.com. Sorts of images missing from here. kind of go with this last guy was saying about, so if you have a bunch of things that are like hierarchically added onto one another, then you'll have this issue where every one of them has a transform and it has to do all these calculations for all of them. And the further down you have children, like hierarchically, you've got one, and then a child of that, and then a child of that, and then a child of that, and a child of that. It's got to do all these computations on top of one another, and that's really expensive. Anyways, I'm going to make a new empty object here. This is going to be called start with an underscore mapper. We'll reset it back to that. Is there a way to lock the stuff? Nah, whatever. We're not going to do anything super complex in here for now because this is not all about inputs and input mapping and yada yada yada. But let's move this into system scripts. And then gameplay. So this needs to have some additional interface. This will be like is move left. It would be like float. This to be a mono behavior. We want this to be a singleton. This is a wrapper for all of the actions that the player wants to, like you want the player to take, so that way they can be remapped pretty easily. Like what goes on underneath of the hood is pretty easy to reconfigure, and the stuff that calls it doesn't need to know that underlying stuff changed. So, for example, if we change the button for jumping later, all the people who are asking, are we jumping, don't need to know that the button has been unwrapped. So we'll get get button up. Input. I don't know what the button names are. I guess we can see through Unity, go edit, project settings, input manager, axis. We have horizontal. So it's just called jump, like that. The reason I'm using a bool for movement left and right, I don't want to have like little tiny slight movements and stuff. Remember, I wanted the timing to be more important than the precision of placement. So what I'm going to use to control the speed is that jogging thing I was talking about. So I'll do return input dot So if we look back at the getAxisRaw that we were looking at before, let's see, I think it was negative. So -1 is to the left and +1 is to the right. So if getAxisRaw horizontal is less than 0, then we're moving left. Here, if it's greater than 0, we're moving right. I was trying to design an effect triggering system setup, or effect triggering setup for the past few weeks. I thought of things like using curves and animations and triggering those animations at certain parameters, but that wasn't looking as good as I wanted. I also thought of just changing variables over time as the different speeds, but again, it didn't really look good. So I thought of just creating curves that could be edited in the inspector, having them control the variables. So for example, if something is triggered, the curve will dictate an image effect's intensity. It will go up to its maximum value, and when the parameters return false, it will slowly lower curve somehow going backwards. But I'm having a lot of trouble with this, or even getting started. I declared 3 curves, each for controlling a separate effect. For the sake of simplicity, I just want to focus on one of them. Here's the code I have so far. I'm not getting any errors, but now I have no idea what to do next. I tried looking for tutorials, but the only things I can find are the curves in the animation window, not controlling curves in this. Now for character movement, we'll do a public animation curve. Call this the speed curve. And then an update. We'll do something like input mapping dot why can't I get the instance? Oh, public static. Need that for simpleton. Input mapping dot get instance is moved left. Well, we need something like count time well, let's start with something stupid simple, I guess, just to get something on the screen. So I'll do private float speed. Call that 10. Per second. Time dot time. one viewer. How's it going? Don't be shy if you're there. Go ahead and say something in the chat. References runtime script and scene file. So do I just not have this game object here? That might be it. Look at that. I can move him left and right. That is, in fact, horizontal movement. Okay, now we have very simple movement. We want to have it be according to this time curve. Hi Drilo Spinky. Thank you for the chat message. I love Chef Frank, that's very cute. You like the tunes? They're kind of funky. So let's see how we can improve this with this animation curve. So we need to get the amount of time that we have the deal held down. So we'll do something like calculate movement time, which will be a private void function. Calculate movement time. And then we'll do something like float speed equals speed curve dot evaluate then we'll need something like private float heard about this tip. So when you're doing a comparison, you can put the constant on the left side, so that way there's no concern of a misassign where you accidentally have just a single input equal. Anyways, it's a pretty simple idea. So then we'll get a move direction to be like new direction equals, I think that's the Glee name, new directions. Okay, input mapping dot get instance dot move direction. So then we'll do if So then we'll check if new direction exactly equal to movement direction. If that's the case, then we do movement time dot delta t. Else movement time goes to 0. So if we continue moving in the same direction, then we keep moving on in that direction, I guess. And then if we stop moving in the same direction, then our movement time goes to 0. And then the movement time is used to evaluate our speed curve. So I think something like this would work. Now we gotta set up this speed curve here. Start it off like this. I don't know how to make this scale more. Like, I wanted to go above 0. Okay, well I guess I can't. I'll have to define a max speed as well. So for the first second, you're going at half your full speed, and then you slowly ramp up to your full speed over the next half a second. And then after that, and before it like clamps. That's what these are here. First speed, half speed, and after 1.5 seconds, it'll just be max speed. I think that's cool. Now we go and do private float max speed. Set this equal to 4. And then our current speed is max speed times the speed curve dot evaluate. Okay. I really have no idea if this is going to work. It does not appear to work. Time to debug. So I changed 2 things at once. Probably wasn't a good idea. I'll do debug dot log speed. So it might be working, and maybe our issue is just with the move direction. That's because we're never setting move direction. Set move direction here equal to new direction. That was a mistake. So left is working, but right is not working because I have left here twice. So you can see it appears to be working. I don't know if I'll be able to tweak the curve. It's a cool thing about doing the curve like this, but See, he starts off going kind of slow, and then picks up his speed. Cool. Now, I don't know if there's a way to save this speed curve. How do I save an animation curve? Well, I guess we can try this out. Let's see if it stays on the prefab. So if we go back to project and go to assets, characters, prefabs, and then we take our character here who's just got the sprite and their character movement on it. If we drag this into here to make a prefab from it, we've now got this prefab, and it looks like that curve actually does stay on there. So if we, for example, drag this character in, make another one. Let's go back to scene. We can move this one down a bit and maybe over a bit so that they're slightly different. Let's see. Does he retain his curve? Still looks like it. Let's try it out. Yeah, awesome. Cool. Gonna delete that guy from there. And I'm gonna, now that we have our character prefab, I'm going to delete this one from the sandbox. I want to get a habit of keeping the sandbox clear. So let's go save our assets in plastic. Just so we have some things changed. The sandbox here, we've changed that. We changed the code style. We added this prefab plus its metadata, character movement script plus metadata, placeholder character.png metadata, input script plus metadata. Implemented simple horizontal movement with speed curve. I don't know. Cool. So Plastic also has this branch manager thing, which is supposed to be pretty neat. I think it's opening it, yeah. So you can see, like, here's where you're at. You can branch off, and it has this whole visualization for it. It can be kind of neat, but I don't know if I'm really gonna do branches. Maybe it'd be a good habit to get into. I've had a really bad upload today, so I hope that the recording isn't unbearable. My upload keeps jumping around, going from like 2,000 kilobits per second to 4,000 kilobits per second. I'm having all sorts of frame drops. The encoder is not running at 60 frames per second all the time. So Yeah, I don't know what the whole deal is with that. Alright, so I see horizontal movement is done. Now if we go look at our epic, you see we got a little bit further in our burn down. So I think we'll be behind the curve tomorrow, but I'm gonna wrap up for today. Let's stop our music and close out Visual Studio. Accomplishments. Learned about InputAxis versus InputAxisRaw. Made an input wrapper. Simple horizontal movement. Horizontal movement with speed curve. Before that, I suppose. Learned about AnimationCurves. Saved character as prefab. Placeholder character image. It's not really much of an accomplishment. But that is the work. That's what I did today. So let's do next time jumping and let's go back to here. So I've got jump, I've got collision detection. So jump, falling, collision detection, double jump, crouching, platforms. I think I can get jump, but before I do falling, I want to have platforms, so I'm gonna do jump. Placeholder image. And then we'll have some white platforms. And then I also probably need collision detection with those platforms. Okay. Jumping and platform basics. Okay. Well, that's going to be all for my stream tonight. Thank you for joining. If you're watching this on YouTube, it would be it'd be fantastic if you could think of someone in your life who might find this kind of content entertaining or instructive or inspirational, and just send it to them. You know, maybe they'll join, maybe they won't join, but I would really appreciate that. If you have any thoughts about the work I did today, please leave a comment on my YouTube video. And if you think I'm making good progress, give me a like. And if you want to see more, give me a subscribe or a follow on Twitch. As always, thank you and have a good night.